Good day, Mzansi learners. Today we are going to learn how to sketch the parabola. So in today's lesson, I'm going to teach you a very easy and simple method, a step-by-step method. So if you follow that step-by-step method, you should be able to sketch the parabola and have an easy of a time doing so. So as per usual, if you like the video or if it's helpful, comment, subscribe, like, comment on what I can do different, or if there's different topics that you want me to cover. So let's jump right ahead into the video. So here we have the 6 steps. Number 1, we're going to start with the equation. Actually, with all the steps, we're going to start with the equation, but number 1 is going to start with the equation, and we're going to see how the parabola is going to look at the end of the day. Number 2, y-intercept. Number 3, we're going to get the x-intercept. Number 4, the axis of symmetry. Number 5, turning point. And then number 6, we're going to put it all together and then we're going to plot. So if you follow these steps, you shouldn't go wrong, or it should be very easy to sketch the parabola and you should have it correct. So number 1, I said we're going to start with the equation, and the equation is just going to tell us how your parabola is going to concave, or how it's going to look when you finish, or when you finish with the sketch. When we look here, we see we have ax squared plus bx plus c, and the sign in front of the coefficient of x, which is a, tell you which way it concave. If it's positive, and it concaves upwards, because positive is happy, positive. When it's negative, it's going to concave downwards. So when we look at our equation here, we see the sign is positive there. So the parabola is going to look like that. At the end of the day, we should have something that looks like that. Number 2, we need the value of c, which is, or we need to get the y-intercept, and that would be the value of c in your equation. So every time you go back to your equation, value of c is -6. So write down the value of c as 0 and -6, because everywhere on the y-axis, x will be equal to 0, and it's going to, the y-intercept is going to be at -6, or at -6. So we'll have that. So let's write in our intercept, our y-intercept. Number 3, we are going to factorize to get our x-intercepts. So we need to get our x-intercepts and we need to factorize. So we go to our formula again, and we set the f of x to 0. So x squared minus x minus 6 equal to 0. Just put that f of x equal to 0. Then we factorize. If you're not sure how to factorize, I have a video on factorization, but I've worked this out. This is going to be +3. Sorry, apologies. This is going to be -3 plus 2. So our x-intercepts will be, x will be equal to 3, or x will be equal to -2. And everywhere on the x-axis, the y value will be equal to 0. So we'll have a point of 3 and 0. And we'll have a point of -2 and 0. So we'll put those points there, 3 and 0, and -2 and 0. The next step is to get to axis of symmetry, and this is where the parabola is split in half. So when we have our parabola, axis of symmetry will be there, and it will be an x value. So we have a formula for that, x equal to -b over 2a. Then we simply substitute -b. Here's our b. So we'll have negative, and b would be -1 over 2, and a would be 1 because there's a 1 there next to the x. So our x value for the axis of symmetry will be a half. So we'll put a half here next to the axis of symmetry, and that would be an x value. Now for the turning point. For the turning point, we simply substitute our axis of symmetry, the value that we got there, we substitute that into our equation. So we'll have f of a half, because remember I said the axis of symmetry is an x value, equal to, so everywhere where there's an x, we just simply substitute it with a half, minus, there's a half there, it's x, minus 6. So I've just simply substituted the half into my equation. That will be 1/4 minus a half minus 6, and then my answer would be -6 and 1/4, and that is my y value for my turning point. So my x value for my turning point would be a half. That would be my axis of symmetry, and my y value will be 6 1/4. So all of these that I worked, all of these values are points that I'm going to plot on my Cartesian plane, and that is point number 6. And now our final step is to plot my equation of the parabola of x squared minus x minus 6. So now we simply put the points that we've worked out here, and see, while I was working out the points, I just wrote it next to the step, and that makes it just easier to plot it. So y-intercept -6, there's my first point. Second point is my x-intercepts 3 and 0. There's 3 on my x, and everywhere on my x-axis the y is 0. My second point, -2 and 0. And remember, my x-intercepts is where my my graph cuts the x-axis, x-intercept. So we've got that. Axis of symmetry is at a half, so let's just put there, we'll just put that in there. So that's my axis of symmetry, and then my turning point would be a half and -6 1/4. So that would be a half there, -6 1/4, let's say it's there, and that's all I need to draw to graph my parabola. Now I simply connect the dots, and there we go. And as we can see, right at we start with the beginning and the end, so my equation or my sketch looks like I anticipated, and that's that. So easy to follow steps. Step number 1, start with the equation to see how my parabola is going to look at, just a rough sketch. Step number 2, my y-intercept. Step number 3, get my x-intercepts by factorizing. Step number 4, my axis of symmetry. Step number 5, my turning point. Step number 6, plot. And that's that. So now you should be able to easily sketch your parabola. And obviously, if they asked for you to show the points clearly, you can just put that in there. That is -2 and 0. That is 3 and 0. My axis of symmetry would be a half. My y-intercept would be 0 and -6. And my turning point would be a half and -6 1/4. Thank you for watching. If it helped, remember to like, comment, and if you want to see more videos, subscribe, so that whenever I upload a new video, then you will be able to see what I upload, and hopefully that can help you in the future. I'm out.